What's good, family? It's your boy, JV Lorenz Moore, back with another episode of No Cap, and I have three very special guests. Aaliyah Ponder, Liana Guthrie, Olivia Masoke. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Olivia Masoke. I'm a rising senior economics major at Spelman College from Oakland, California.
Hi, I am Liana Guthrie, a junior media scholar at the Fort Valley State University, the #1 public HBCU in the state of Georgia, and I am from Atlanta, Georgia.
I am Aaliyah Ponder. I am a graduate of the University of Alabama, and I am from Atlanta, Georgia.
Big grad, for sure. Big grad. Now, I know Aaliyah from Ebenezer Baptist Church. Shout out to the EBC ministry. College ministry. That's definitely where we met. But let's get right into it, family. How y'all feeling, first of all? I know it's hot outside. I know it is. I appreciate y'all for pulling up, though. So, let's talk about your experiences in college. Obviously, rising senior, just like you said, junior now, big grad, big alum status. So,
for sure.
That's how I'm gonna phrase it. What is one memory or experience that you think shaped your collegiate experience? Let's start, Olivia.
That's tough.
That's a tough question.
Tough.
Or if not one, a couple, a few.
I guess I would have to say, honestly, homecoming week, and not for the same reasons that like most people are gonna say. Because, I am a dancer, captain of Mahogany Emotion.
Come on, Grits.
The official dance line of Morehouse College that's full of Spelman students. So my homecoming weeks have always been just full of work, very late nights, very early mornings, lots of practices, not all the parties as usual, but we're going to get there one day.
For sure.
When I don't go to school anymore. But, so I think homecoming week is always just kind of the most HBCU-like for me. As far as alum coming back, getting to connect with all of them, getting to connect with other current students, and then just all the real traditional HBCU stuff. So getting to dance with the band, and all the tailgating that happens, and the football game, and all the events leading up to it, and how serious everybody takes that week. That's, I think, my favorite college experience.
Definitely. Shout out House of Funk. Yes, sir. All right, Liana.
Dang, there's so many. I would probably say winning Chief Justice of my university and pledging Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated all within 1 week.
Nice.
Right.
That was the
Same week?
Within the same week. So I won Chief Justice one Friday, and then the next Friday I crossed.
Wow.
And I had my probate. So I think that was the best experience of my life because I used to stay in my room freshman year. I didn't want to get out and do anything. But being a part of the Student Government Association, I was able to meet so many amazing people who I can say are my lifelong friends. Like, we'll be friends like to the day God calls us home, and I appreciate meeting them.
That's real. That's real. Definitely meet some lifelong friends in college for sure. What about you, Big Grad? Come on, talk to me.
Big grad.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, my favorite memory is going to be walking across that stage.
Come on.
Making it to the end, right? Like,
Yeah.
we worked so hard, and I had a very, non-traditional college experience. Mine was 5 years because I was a double major, and chose a double major, junior year. The initial junior year. So, there was a lot of adjusting there. I also really valued the memories that I made, interning at the local news station back. Don't do that. In Tuscaloosa. And also, getting production experience, working with people in the community and still being in college. I love that. And also, the pandemic. I know a lot of people would say, that was not, the best time. But in that time, I met JV and, we locked in ministry. And I think, amidst being in college and working towards, transitioning back into that space, it put us all in a position of, pausing. We had to pause and we had to evaluate, okay, who am I? What do I believe in? And how am I going to make it out of this? And, what does the end look like, right? So those were my most memorable
No, that's right. That's real. Who am I? What do I believe in? How am I going to make it out of this? That definitely was it for me. for sure. Coming into the pandemic, just like Aaliyah said, that's where we met through Ebenezer, through the college ministry, and the accumulation of college students, through that ministry. So that was definitely something that was powerful, impactful for me. Something that was necessary during the pandemic, because I don't think people really understand, like, and this is not to take away from anybody else's experience, but being in college in person and then going virtual and then coming back in person and graduating. That's a lot. That's a big much.
Too much.
It really is.
Too much.
Oh, I forgot. Y'all were already in college.
We were already
Yes,
there.
because I was going to college during the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have prom?
No.
Whoa.
We didn't have prom or graduation.
Exactly.
Oh my
So my first graduation will be my college graduation.
Wow.
Yeah, sucks.
Look at that. But it's okay, because you on campus for sure. You got more time.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, but
Way more time.
yeah, that's just the impact of the pandemic, for sure. But obviously we made a way to get through that, and we will continue to get through any type of trial, for sure, because we don't have a choice, honestly. That's just my man's mindset. Like, I don't got a choice. We got to get it done.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
my experience that I feel like shaped my collegiate career, man, that is a tough question. I don't know why I asked y'all that. But I wouldn't say it was one experience. I would say it's an accumulation of experiences. First of all, being in the marching band, House of Funk definitely shaped me. When it comes to discipline, readiness, being on time, all of these things, they here now because of House of Funk. If it wasn't for that, probably wouldn't be here. Obviously, being in the Glee Club as well, same thing, discipline, being on time. True brotherhood. That was something that I definitely needed to work on coming into college, but something that has definitely improved because of being at Morehouse. So that's the marching band, the Glee Club. I'm just gonna shout out to the whole music department at Morehouse. That's where I spent most of my time. I was a music major, so just being there, being around people that were like-minded, knowing that iron sharpens iron, literally, that's exactly what happened. Like, I did not have the knowledge that I have now, and obviously that's expected going to college and graduating, but literally, if you ask some of my professors, it's crazy. Twin, we came a long way. We definitely
Long
did.
way.
Long way.
Long way.
way. Yeah, man. So, okay, cool. Since we're talking about the pandemic, you just said you started while we were in the pandemic. And then me and Leah, we were already in school.
Yeah.
And then we had to come out to be virtual. That transition, what do y'all think was the most difficult part,
Woo.
being in college?
Meeting people.
Okay.
So
Because
being back on camp?
Yeah, because we didn't have, you always hear about homecoming. We didn't have homecoming. Like basketball games and football games, you had none of that. So just getting out and trying to find activities that you can do, but that was safe, following COVID protocol, that was hard. So I feel like that's why I got into SGA too.
Most definitely.
I think on the flip side of that was so the pandemic started when I was on spring break my freshman year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was I was just doing everything for the first time and then just didn't get the latter half of that semester. But then once the pandemic started, technically I was kind of an upperclassman. So they were kind of looking to us to maintain things that had been happening years prior, but none of us were equipped to bring in new freshmen or
real.
keep the events going that were happening before. So where you missed out on certain things to meet people or stay connected, we were kind of trying to figure out how to keep those things going, but no one really had the tools, because normally you get that by connecting with other upperclassmen and people kind of keep showing you the ropes, but we were all in different places, so it was really hard to figure out that. And I think we're still kind of figuring out how to keep stuff going. And I think going through year 3 or year 2.5 of having COVID, we're kind of learning that you can't hold on to everything. Everything can't really be maintained. So while we've lost certain things, we're kind of figuring out how to make them our own. So I think that's kind of a big thing.
I'm about to say, sometimes that's a good thing, losing those certain things. Because there are definitely traditions that need to be passed down, but also there are traditions that need to be done away with.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Okay.
come on, yeah.
Say
And I'm
that.
saying specifically, you know, from our HBCUs, Morehouse Spelman, right next door. I know specifically from Morehouse, it was, you know, I was the president of the Glee Club, or vice president of the marching band. So there are definitely things that needed to be passed down. And then something I said to my director, Dr. David Morrow of the Morehouse College Glee Club, he said, there are certain things that should be passed down as tradition, but then again, this is an opportunity to start anew. This is an opportunity to shape the Glee Club or whatever organization to how we want to see it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because sometimes when things are so stuck in tradition, it's easy to just be stuck in that tradition
Yeah.
without any type of change, any type of differences from the past. So I feel like I definitely agree with everything that's being said. And, you know, that really made me look at things differently because, you know, it was before I was like, you know, we're in the pandemic, how are we gonna get back to normal? But to quote Dr. Morrow again, it's no getting back to normal, it's going forward to normal. You know, you have to realize what you want to be normal and you have to decide what that is and you have the power. You literally have history in your hands. So that's the
Right.
beautiful thing about the pandemic. We literally had history in our hands. And it's crazy, you know, being in the band, literally, pandemic hit, go on the marching band. Pandemic hit, tuba section, that's what I played. Tuba section was full, pandemic hit. Come back, I'm thinking I'm gonna be the only person that's playing the tuba. And that's just with marching band. With other organizations as well, I'm sure people had that experience where, you know, you talking about SGA, you had people that were fully equipped to do things as far as leadership positions in SGA. Then pandemic hits, you got people graduating, therefore those traditions are being passed down, and you got people upcoming. And just like you said, everybody's looking up to y'all because y'all the eldest, so they like, what do we do? And you like, I wasn't really taught what to do, so let me come up with something and I'll let you know. So
We're talking about healthy aging and healthy living.
I'm so passionate about feeding your skin the truth. And the truth is with fruits, vegetables, and all type of herbs. And that's really my motto is feed your skin the truth.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
We're gonna let that marinate for 24 hours.
Ooh, I was really over here thinking like, because the first thing that came to mind for me was transitioning from college to home, from home and solitude back to college.
yeah.
And oh my gosh, like there was a level of stress that I never knew I would experience just off the strength of like, we had this virus in our world. Nobody, you know, knew what to do or how you could avoid catching it other than, you know, masking up and things like that. The vaccine wasn't out yet. And they wanted us to go back to school, like full force. And it was like, wait a second. Y'all just told me in March that I can't leave the house. And now you trying to send me to the dorm? Like, wait a second, like this isn't making sense. And like feeling scared and like terrified. And not really knowing how I was gonna like spend time with friends and not really wanting to be out for real because I'm like, if I catch COVID, like people were
Right.
dying, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, I could die and I haven't even finished. And so there was this like, just this huge cloud of unknown that we were walking into from the date we were told, I was told that we weren't coming back to Bama when me and my homegirl were on the way home for spring break. So all my stuff was still in my room, everything. And I remember we got an email and they were like, yeah, you can't come back. And we're like, we can't come back.
All your stuff in your room?
Yes.
Yeah, same.
I would have cried.
Yes. And we were like communicating with housing and they were like, yeah, no, we're not having people on campus. You're not having people on campus, but my stuff on campus, so I need to be on campus with my stuff. You feel me? Like, I was really frustrated, but also like anxious and transitioning from like being in your own space and making your own moves and going where you want to go when you want to go to where you going. What time are you coming home? Who you gonna be out with? Excuse me, like I'm grown.
Make sure you wear a mask.
Right. Too.
All of that.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just finna stay in the house because this is giving too much, you know? But still wanting that escape, still wanting to go out. And Atlanta was not closed, y'all.
At all.
Not at all. Not
Even a little bit. I remember going out, the first time I went out for Juneteenth, like to celebrate Juneteenth, was during the pandemic. Y'all, we supposed to be in the house. I was outside.
That was my first time celebrating too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, people was outside because it was like,
Outside,
they were
outside.
talking about numbers were high, but
The population was high too. People were
no,
everywhere.
literally people were
No
everywhere.
mask.
No mask.
mask.
Yelling, screaming, laughing,
Okay.
having a good time.
And I didn't even catch COVID until like a year later. Like July, like last July.
You were outside.
And it wasn't even here.
You were outside.
I was outside. I was on vacation. Yeah. But you know, like
But
just
did you have fun?
I had a ball.
That's all
And that's
that
the
And I
matters.
do it again.
Why does that?
And
Why
you
is that
still
all
here.
that matters? Because
No,
she
that's
got
not
COVID.
all that
That's not-
matters, but that's
Yes, it is. I lived through it.
Okay, you made it through it. Okay, yeah.
That's how I do it again, knowing that I make it through it.
Oh,
don't know
wow.
about doing it again,
You lost
though.
me. Okay. Don't know
But
about
to
that.
that same effect of like going back, like you have all this freedom and like you're right back in your parents' house.
Yeah.
We like it was like, okay, we got that little taste of like, ooh, college adulthood, like, okay, I'm feeling this, and got very accustomed to that lifestyle. Went back to essentially being a child,
No.
and then got thrust into adulthood all over again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm from California, so I'm across the country. So I got that same like calls from parents.
Yeah.
I was on a spring break trip with a bunch of my girlfriends. We were in North Carolina having a good time. And then, you know, like all the stuff is on the news about coronavirus popping up in the US. And we're like, okay, well, hopefully it doesn't get all the way down here. And then a couple days later, Spellman's like, you need to come back in 2 days and pack your stuff up and leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not like the rest of them that are gonna hop in a car
Right.
and drive home. Like, I'm trying to get flights, but then the airports are getting shut down. So I went home and had 1 week of finals where the 3-hour time difference tried to take me out. Took a computer science final at 5 o'clock in the morning. Never again. Decided the next semester could not be online, so I got an apartment in Atlanta. But I was like, I just left high school a year ago and I'm setting up power bills and Wi-Fi and like trying to find a car and like trying to figure out adult life while also being in school online, while also trying to be connected with people.
Yeah.
So like even that like made a lot of us grow up so fast.
Very.
Like when we still should have been in the dorms and like going to parties with friends and still got RAs checking on you to like, nah, like, here's adulthood, like,
Yeah.
figure it out in
You
a
checking on
pandemic.
Your landlord checking on you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And adulting ain't cheap
It's
Man.
really not.
at all.
It's really not.
Y'all seen these gas prices? Ooh, child.
Yeah.
I can't.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Hey, they going down though. It's going down a little bit. It was.
A
it was,
little bit.
Yeah, definitely a little crazy a few weeks back.
Right, barely.
About to say.
And in California,
Not enough.
$6.
But I'm not
Yeah.
there, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
that is.
Like
good.
I don't have to
Sucks for
worry
them.
about
We
it.
about to get out, start walking on these folks.
Okay.
Finally. But cool. Most definitely.
Not
no,
in this
really.
heat, though. So I'm in the car with the AC.
You might not make it.
Right. Exactly that. So y'all crazy. Man, y'all just said a whole bunch, man. Just like you said, like forced a lot of people to grow up very quickly. Obviously, because of proximity to areas, different time zones. You're on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
You know, goodness, 5 a.m. computer science. That's a lot of brain power pretty early.
I mean,
Man, I'm glad you got through that.
but we passed.
Yeah, you did
That's
it.
important.
You did it. You did it, and we're here. So, you know, with everything that has happened through the pandemic, now we're here, senior, junior, alum.
Praise
What
God.
is something that you would tell yourself pre-pandemic?
That's good. He did that, y'all. Y'all ready? Because I'm like,
I
I'm
ain't gonna
still
pick y'all
thinking.
this time. Y'all just go ahead.
I gotta think.
Go ahead, take some. Ain't no rush.
A little buffer time.
Ooh, right. What would you say to yourself pre-pandemic?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
look, I know.
Get into it.
It's crazy. It's really crazy because if I look at myself now,
Mm-hmm.
pre-pandemic, that's not the same person. Who are you? Literally, don't know him.
Mm.
So something that I would tell myself, live your life. Like, enjoy your life. Partially because the pandemic is about to come, but partially because, I was always a person that's looking ahead. And looking ahead is a positive thing. And I'll be looking ahead. When I say looking ahead, I'm talking about 50 years, honestly. Yeah.
Heard you.
Yeah, I am. But sometimes I was so consumed with looking ahead that I was missing what was in the present. Like literally what was right there. Like opportunities to talk to family members, have conversations at the time that I could have those conversations. Rather than after the pandemic, you got family members passing away, you got friends passing away or friends going somewhere else because of the pandemic. And then you got same thing with family members going somewhere else because of the pandemic and life circumstances and all these things. So something I would tell myself pre-pandemic, definitely enjoy your life. Have these conversations that you're thinking about having, but you're hesitant about having because they're necessary. And, being here now, that's definitely something that I appreciate. Just recognizing when it's important to have those conversations, when it's important to get outside of your box and reach out and networking. I'm gonna shout out Morehouse again because Morehouse is the place full of networking opportunities. I'm saying that from experience. And, a lot of people can say that, but you don't really know until you experience it. You don't really know what it is to be at the University of Alabama until you go there.
For sure.
And graduate. Emphasis on the graduate, on that matriculation.
Thank
Same
you,
thing,
Lord.
for any university, for any HBCU, for any collegiate experience, you really don't know how it is. So something that Morehouse definitely has taught me is the impact of networking. So that's something, those are a few things I would tell myself pre-pandemic. Yeah, work on that, networking, communicating, reaching out. Get outside your box, don't be so stuck in,
Yeah.
I think I would tell myself not to be too restricted by my expectations. I think, so kind of like what you said about you don't know what it's gonna be until you get there. I knew a lot of people from Spelman before I went, so I knew exactly how certain things worked. And I was like, yep, when I join the dance team, it's gonna be like that.
Right.
And I'm gonna do this, this, and this. And then at school, I'm gonna do that and that, and I'm gonna have this event, whatever. And of course, once we went, the pandemic kind of flipped everything around, and everything was a completely different experience than what it was going to be. And a lot of times I was kind of disappointed or felt like I didn't get what I deserved or what I wanted to out of those experiences. And a lot of what we experienced, no one ever is going to experience that same thing ever again.
Literally, this is in the history books. It really is.
It will be.
Yeah.
It really
for
is.
Sure.
So I think I would just tell myself not to, it's just something different. Okay, I didn't get what people 30 years before me got out of being on Mahogany, but I got something different that nobody else can say they got, and whatever was right for me in that moment. So yeah.
Feel you. Yeah, everything definitely happens for a reason, man. And going back to what you said about, experiences not being the same because of the pandemic. Just like you said, 30 years ago, people had a completely different experience, but what makes us unique is our specific experience. Nobody else can say that they've done what we've done. Be in a pandemic, be in person, be in a pandemic, we still kind of in a pandemic for real.
Yeah.
Technically.
Technically,
It's
like,
still, technically still here.
Very much.
we really still here, and then to matriculate, and then for y'all, literally starting off in a pandemic, not having prom, not having graduation, going to college, what you just said, having to move from you're on the other side of the country, having to move here because of the situation of the pandemic. Growing up like that. These specific experiences, they're for us, you know, and that's just something I feel like we definitely should look at as a positive, because even though we did go through a lot, and we're obviously still going through it, because like I said, we're still in the pandemic, it's not over yet. We should look at these experiences as something that is literally for us. That's something that I had to do in the pandemic, like literally having conversations with God, like, okay, why am I going through this right now? You know, why is this happening right now to me at this specific moment? And then when you start personalizing things, that starts to help you understand why things are happening. And it's kind of like a revelation. You know, that's something that's helped me.
Listen, we never disappoint with our guests and our content on Theology in 30.
I am excited for our conversation.
We live in a different time. And so I want to ask you, what does Howard Thurman's method offer preachers of today who really have roughly 10 to 15 minutes to get their point across?
Something that he offers is a sensitivity to the Spirit, right? So don't go into the worship service so tied to your manuscript that you don't allow freedom for the Spirit to move in ways that you could not expect.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
How do you see those boarded up properties and eyesores in your local community?
Opportunity. This one NACA property propelled me, and now I have 8 outside of this one. So technically I have 9. I have 9 different, and I got into the space of a landlord, of a homeowner. So without NACA, it wouldn't be possible.
Pre-pandemic.
I would tell myself it was going to be okay. Because I feel like I was really stressing out about what college was I going to go to, or am I going to do well at this college? Because of course, like growing up, you go on college trips, you know, you visit colleges, but in the crunch time where you're supposed to make your final decisions, you're not able to go tour the campus, like you can't go see anybody. So if I knew then what I knew now and how I was going to matriculate at Fort Valley State University, I would have been like, girl, you got this. Like, you're going to be amazing. Yeah. So I would just tell pre-pandemic me, you are going to be okay.
I like that. I think to what you were saying, Javian, for me, I would say that it's important to seize every opportunity, like every single opportunity you could possibly have or want or desire, like to seize it. There was a lot of things that I kind of put to the side, like, oh, I'm not gonna join that organization, or I'm not gonna try for that internship because I don't have the experience, like I don't have what it takes, I don't know enough, I haven't done enough, my resume isn't, heavy enough, whatever the case may be. And like, after the pandemic, it was like, okay, and because everybody needs people, like everybody is looking for something that you have, right? So it's just a matter of like you seeing it and seizing it. Yes. And right now, like the job market for the graduates that graduated like as soon as the pandemic hit, it was like super hard for them to get jobs. Like a lot of my friends really struggled after they graduated, and they had master's degrees, like multiple degrees, and was still like, yo, nobody's hiring because people are getting laid off because of COVID. And then we graduate, y'all are getting ready to graduate, and when I tell you people are hiring, they want to hire you, your friends, your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, they want to hire everybody. Okay, like they will teach you whatever you need to know to be able to succeed in that environment. And it's like, before the pandemic, like I had convinced myself, if I don't have what it takes, I can't do it. But I saw like afterwards, like God literally qualifies the unqualified. And it's so beautiful to see how like, even in my minimal experience and even with my resume being very bland, very much bland, that God was still able to get glory and was still able to like put me in a position to like excel and get experience in certain fields and learn more about myself and learn more about what I did and did not like. And it's like, had the pandemic not happened, like I wouldn't be taking risks now.
No, for real.
Not at all.
Wouldn't really be doubling down. I wouldn't be doubling down on myself, for real.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
Definitely not.
Right now, I got the mindset like, bro, you can do whatever you want to do.
No, it's really that.
Yeah, it really is.
It's really
like,
that.
That's not arrogance. Like I used to confuse that for arrogance. Like having a lot of confidence in yourself. Oftentimes people be like, oh yeah, that I don't want to be arrogant, but it's nothing wrong with having a lot of confidence in yourself.
For sure.
You know, you got to have confidence in yourself in order to succeed. You have to.
You do.
So having the mindset like, you know what, I can do anything I put my mind to, that's not a negative thing. And just like you said, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I really wouldn't be all in on myself for real, like I am now. Like before, I thought I was all in, but now I'm like, nah, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is, man. Most def. Man, that's crazy. Because you're talking about a resume. I was thinking about my resume before the pandemic versus after. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Literally.
It's crazy.
It is.
It's like you went from like not betting on yourself at all, or like bet or like play betting on yourself, like, oh, I could do this, but I'm only gonna go for this.
Exactly.
To like going all in, like, you know, I'm jumping like 2 feet first,
2
like
feet.
I'm jumping in,
10
and
toes.
if I fail, I fail.
Right.
But I could succeed, and I probably will.
And I'm like that.
And you like that.
And you're like that. No,
you really are.
That's the mindset you really got to have, like, I'm like that.
You really are, though. Like, you really are. You really are. And if you don't think that, nobody else will. That's the thing.
Dang.
Exactly.
And you start to realize everybody that's winning is faking it till they make it. Like, everybody is lit. Like, you can do whatever job. Because like you said, they'll teach you when you get there. Once you start to realize, like, nobody knows exactly what to do until you're in it. And you literally have to start somewhere.
You know what?
So all of that, like, oh, my resume is not, well, you have to start it. Like, or get there. Or even realizing, like, you don't have to be dead set on something forever. Like, the pandemic and our generation is kind of showing us, like, I can decide to do this job for 2 months.
Yeah.
I don't have to be here for 35 years,
Wow.
like everybody did before. But like, if I start it and I try it might be cool for a little second, and then I can go to something else. But just realizing like the value of certain things, like everything is not as serious as we make it. And
really
we all
ain't that
just
deep,
kind of
right?
figuring things out at the same time.
Dang,
It's not that deep.
It's really not.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
For sure.
It's
It's
not.
really not. Family, this is a good discussion. You know what? We're gonna do a part 2 of this, you know? We're gonna do a part 2 of this because I really appreciate this authentic dialogue with my guests. Appreciate y'all for coming and speaking the truth, being vulnerable. This is necessary, you know? So family, man oh man, I'm gonna see y'all for part 2. Thank you to my guests once again. I love y'all. Oh yeah.